Welcome back, Wolfpack Gorillas here, and I'm actually really excited for Sharpedo. When I was coming up with the strategy, I got some really cool things, so let's go into the video like we normally do and look at Sharpedo's stats. So Sharpedo, very interesting stats. Decent amount of speed, pretty good on the attack, and then a weird amount of special attack, so it seems like it could be a mixed Pokemon, and we also have really low hit points, really low defenses, so this Pokemon's just pretty much never going to survive almost any kind of hit. Like, a lot of neutral hits threaten it when you have that low of hit points and that low of the defenses, but we still have a good amount of speed. It also has the speed boost ability, so that speed is actually very excellent on a speed boost Pokemon when you start getting those boosts going. And then we also have 120 on the attack, so we can get some damage in, and that turns out to be pretty nice. Looking at its typing, it's a water dark type. Doesn't matter, tons of weaknesses, you know. We're mostly looking at this from an offensive standpoint. That water and dark as stab, pretty decent, and then when we look at the weaknesses, there's a ton of weaknesses, but since Sharpedo isn't surviving really any attacks anyways, not really the biggest thing to worry about. We do get psychic immunities and a couple of resistances, so if you are going to get hit, maybe there's a chance you can survive if you can maybe get a safe switch in or something like that. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we just kind of get to see that Sharpedo has a really good amount of coverage, and its stats come out to be pretty nice. That you want to go Adamant Nature, 252, 252, and a lot of people say you want to run Protect, that way you get that speed boost. What I say is that you just bring it in on a Pokemon that's about ready to faint, or you just kind of save it. That when you have an opportunity to get that safe switch in, when you have that opportunity to finish off an opponent, that means you're going to get the free speed boost on top of a Revenge KO, and that's going to come through really nice. The thing about 120 attack is that it's not KO City. Even Adamant, even with Life Orb, even with all those crazy things, you know, Waterfall is low base damage, Crunch is low base damage. If you're hitting neutral hits, it's not going to be enough to just KO a lot of Pokemon outright, but you're still going to have a decent amount of damage. So that's why we have some other coverage, Zen Headbutt, Ice Fang. Zen Headbutt works out against fighting types and poison types really well, and Ice Fang, dragons, flying types. Do I need to say any more? We also have grass, so it works out really strong when you have Ice Fang and all these other moves, so it does have a really good amount of coverage and a really high amount of super effective potential, but just in case you don't have it, you want to make sure that this Pokemon's going to be more in the mid to late game. That if your opponent has a lot of Pokemon that have lower hit points, Sharpedo can just come in and clean up. That it's an easy Pokemon to get at least one KO with if you play it correctly, and then once it starts getting speed boost going, you bring it in, you pick off an opponent, they try to revenge you with a Scarf Pokemon, you might have the outspeed on top of them, and that's where it starts getting really good. Also, Sharpedo, it gets Destiny Bond. You can play a really mean Sharpedo with Destiny Bond. You do have to sacrifice some coverage, but with this, you have a lot of opportunities to just, you know, pick off an opponent, maybe look for that super effective on a Crunch or Ice Fang, and then get the speed boost, use Aqua Jet, do something. Like, you have a lot of options here. I like Aqua Jet personally just because when on the set, you're going to try to make the most of your Focus Sash. That Focus Sash is going to give you a lot of opportunities to two-hit KO. That you go, you know, Crunch, that doesn't finish them off, Crunch into Ice Fang, Crunch into another Crunch into Aqua Jet if they're Focus Sashed as well. That it gives you a lot of options, and then once you get your two-hit KO, if not, you know, you bring Sharpedo in, it finishes off a Pokemon. They try to counter you out, you're Sash, so you can get that two-hit KO after the speed boost, and then you finish off with another Destiny Bond. Sharpedo is a really easy 2-0 Pokemon, or 2-for-1 Pokemon. So it can do a lot of work like that by just setting up naturally. Once you get it in safely, really, that's all you have to do. That if you can at least whittle down an opponent, sacrifice one of your Pokemon to get some damage, Sharpedo can really gain an incredible amount of momentum really quick. And now we have Mega Sharpedo. So Mega Sharpedo, I already did a video on it. Very interesting Pokemon. If you want a more in-depth look at Mega Sharpedo, check out the description below. But right now I'm just going to kind of mention that it's really interesting. You don't have the Life Orb extra damage boost on the Waterfall. You don't have the safety of Focus Sash. But you do, what you want to do is you want to be Sharpedo. Protect that first turn, get your speed boost, Mega Evolve that turn. So now you're still going to have an incredible amount of outspeed. And then you go into Strong Jaw. Strong Jaw boosts bite-based attacks by 50%. So Life Orb only boosts all the attacks by 30%. So it's pretty much, you're losing damage on Waterfall in the end, that even after this boost, that if we do the math right here, 372, well, Life Orb gives you over 30%, so that's far more than going up to 416. That pushes you closer to 500 on the offenses when you're going with the regular Sharpedo with Life Orb. But then when we have Strong Jaw factoring in with Crunch and Ice Fang, you're getting more damage on those two moves, less damage on Waterfall, but it's still a stab move, so you still have good options overall, and then you get a little extra speed. So Sharpedo is really weird like that. You also have to give up the coverage on the Protect, and potentially, since Waterfall isn't going to have a lot of damage, you can just go with Aqua Jet to try to get around the priority. So it's like slightly more tankiness. Now you might not get destroyed by every single neutral hit and then you also get a little bonus damage on Crunch and Ice Fang. I feel like they could have been a little more aggressive with the stats, you know, higher attack, take 10 points off special attack, put that into the attack. Because what I found with Mega Sharpedo is that even with Adamant, even with full investment, it's not going to secure a lot of one-hit KOs, even with Strong Jaw. All those things stacking on it makes it like 90% on so many strong Pokemon on neutral hits. It has a lot of potential, but just doesn't quite come through. So mixing it up with Spikes and Stealth Rocks will definitely make Sharpedo shine, and you can also do things like that. And then there's my hidden beauty, Rage. That I was looking at the moveset, I was like, wait, if Sharpedo falls just short on so many damage opportunities, why not use Rage? That what you can do with Rage is Focus Sash it, get all these other speed boosts and all sorts of other crazy things going for you, and now you're going to have more damage than Life Orb. You're still going to have good coverage between Crunch, Waterfall, potentially Ice Fang or Destiny Bond. It's going to do the same thing, just a little better. That if you get the right switch in, that if you get the right revenge set up, you know, you take the hit, Focus Sash procs, you get your speed boost, you finish off that Pokemon. Now you're sitting at the +1, so you get a little bit more damage. Life Orb only gives you 30%, Rage is going to give you 50%, and then that might secure some extra KOs, and then you also have Destiny Bond as an out, and you're just looking for all that coverage, and it could be a little bit of extra damage. Also, if you want to be really crazy, I haven't really come up with the right EV spread for this because I didn't do too many calcs, but you take a risk. You go for that Mega Sharpedo, that you try to survive as regular Sharpedo. You know, you use Rage on that first turn. You take in the hit. Actually, I was thinking that Adamant would probably be a better option. That you take in that hit. Then you Mega Evolve next turn and they aren't expecting it. Well, you're going to get a lot of speed off that speed boost that's going to make you fast enough to still outspeed most of the game. I was thinking we can use that little bit of buff to speed, that it goes from 95 to 105. We can use that to just invest the rest into hit points, have a better chance of surviving that first hit, and now Sharpedo has no problems. That all those little bit of damages that were kind of falling short in all the calculations, they don't apply anymore. You get that 50% boost, you still have Strong Jaw, and now you're decimating pretty much everything in your way. That's why I was thinking, like, you could probably go with either or, that if we're looking at the Jolly aspect, you have a little bit less damage, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to be most of the one-hit KOs. That's why I didn't run the calcs, so I'm not completely sure, but it is an idea that if you can do this, that means you don't have to invest as much into the speed. You can put more into the hit points, you increase your survivability, and if you get the right switch in on a Pokemon that you know isn't going to threaten you, that's already trying to set up in its own, or it's just a tanky wall kind of Pokemon, suddenly, boom, you get massive really quick, and then you Mega Evolve and just destroy the rest of your opponent's team from there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, that's surprisingly how you use Mega Sharpedo and Sharpedo.